Okay, guys, as promised, here is the sorting of Mira's finished scrapbook pages and some scrap paper, and then also some sewing. I sewed some masks for her, so that's at the very end if you guys want to hang around and watch any of that. Okay, so we're going to start with the finished scrapbook pages, and I'm sorting these out by year. And I realized when I was up there this last time that I may have sorted these a little bit incorrectly because there were some that had dates on the front and then some that had dates on the back. And she told me that if it has a date on the front, that was the date of the event. And then if it was on the back, that was the date that she created the scrapbook page. So I didn't know that when I sorted them out. And so she may need to go through and pull out some of those that I may have gotten into the wrong year, but at least they're a little bit more organized than they were. And there were quite a few of these that didn't have a date on them at all. And I didn't want to guess. I mean, there were a lot that I think I knew based on the ages of the people in the picture, but yeah, I didn't want to guess. So I just left those for her to sort out. And then also she had a bunch of older ones. Like I could tell that they were from probably when she first started scrapbooking because they weren't quite as creative or blingy as some of her newer ones. So it was fun to see the evolution of her scrapbooking. And I also got to know so much about her by just sorting these out and seeing all the different events she's been to. I learned a little bit more about her family and friends, and yeah, it was kind of fun. So, okay, now we're going to move on to the scrap paper. And you're probably wondering why we're calling this scrap paper because it's not scraps necessarily. I think this really was that it just wasn't attached to a booklet like a lot of them come in. And so I'm just sorting them by color as best I can because some of these, it gets really... The lines are blurred. I'm like, is it blue? Is it green? It's actually aqua. And so I needed a kind of a category of just aqua because there was a lot of aqua stuff. But I'm sure if I had all the time in the world, I could really get detailed on, you know, when blue turns to aqua and when aqua turns to green. But I kept it a little bit more broad, and some of it was a little difficult to figure out where to put, but she does like to keep her wood grain paper separate. And then I just put like the multicolored that didn't really belong in a color category. And then like cream or white, the blacks and grays. And then of course, just, you know, all the rainbow colors. And then, browns, and then pink was its own category as well. And now moving on to the scraps. And these were a lot quicker for me. For some reason, they just were more easily identifiable as to where they go. But I also realized by watching one of her videos that she likes to do the smaller scraps separate from the full sheets of paper. So I didn't remedy this yet, but since I'll be going up there fairly often, I'll try to sort those out for her if she hasn't already gotten to it. But for now, they're all together, and I know she's okay with it because if she's not, what is she gonna do? Fire me? Just kidding. She's always very appreciative of whatever I help her with, so that is something that is super easy to fix. So here is just a closer look at all of those categories, the wood grain, all of the colors of the rainbow, your blues, purples, pinks, red, some of it looks orange though, your browns, and then blacks and white, and then all together in the box. All right, I'm just showing you here, this is the scrapbook pages that I sorted by year. So I put it in those little Felicity Jane pizza box looking things, and then just temporarily wrote the date on there, but they do have stickers on it now. And then these are the scrapbook pages that didn't have dates, and then just some of the older scrapbook pages. Okay, so another paper sorting session. This was a different day, different pile. I didn't just unorganize the pile I just did to reorganize it. Nope, different pile. Anyway, and this one was really, really difficult for me. Like there was not just brown, but like gold. I'm like, do gold and brown go together, or is that a totally separate category? I don't know. So it was hard. It was hard, y'all. But I did it, I think. But see, is that purple? Is that blue? I don't know. I'm calling that green. Yellow? That looks orange. Those look the same to me, but orange, red, I have no idea. So at least I knew what clear was in those specialty pages. And then just the multicolored. So, alrighty, now on to some sewing. So, if this is not your thing, you do not have to watch. Nobody is forcing you to. Sometimes I have to remind people of that because it was kind of funny on my most recent Mira video. I had somebody jump on there and say, I don't know why, but I just find your videos really boring. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And I don't care. You're the one who watched it. So who is the bright one now? Anyway, people are funny. I'm like, I don't know why you needed to tell me, but thank you. Now I know. Oh, and as a side note to any of my members who might be watching, this is a different sewing session than the one that you saw on the version that I put out to you guys. So if you're like, wait, this doesn't look familiar, it's because it's not. These are different masks that I made for her that I decided to put on here. Also, I'm about to get really mad at my machine right here. I don't know why, but that cracked me up just watching it sped up like that. It makes it look like I'm so much madder than I really was. I mean, I was upset because I broke a needle and I hate breaking needles and I hate changing needles. And so instead I decided to change my whole sewing machine instead of just changing the needle. Was it more work? Maybe. But I was like, I've had it with this machine. We're just going to go to a different one. And neither of my machines are like the very best because at the time I bought them, I was pretty broke and I just needed something that was going to be able to sew a bunch of D's for Girls kits, which I don't remember if I've ever talked about D's for Girls. I'm not going to go into all that in this one, but it's basically like menstrual hygiene kits for girls in developing countries. And I was the chapter leader for like 4 years. And anyway, we sewed thousands and thousands of components. So even though it's a cheap machine, it did do the job for a lot of things. Not to mention, we also sewed about 2,000 something masks for the pandemic when there was a mask shortage in the beginning. So anyway, not just me, but I put together a lot of kits for other people to sew as well. But anyway, I'm saying the cheap machines, they work. They might not be like quite as effective or quiet, but they do the job and have held up very well for the $120 or something I spent on it. So I love my brother machine. And I love my brother. Sorry, brothers. I have 3 brothers, so I didn't mean to leave out any one of you. I love my brothers and my sister. Oh, and I really hope nobody was expecting like a sewing lesson or anything here because obviously I didn't say anything about how I did this. It was really just to show me sewing masks and how quickly I can just whip out a mask for you if you ever need one in another future pandemic. I'm your girl. Bam. Okay, well, that's it for this one. I hope I didn't bore you to death. And if I did, just remember that's on you. Just kidding. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great weekend and look for Mira's next video on Sunday. Bye, guys.